So welcome to another episode of the Women Petpreneurs podcast with your host, Mary Oquendo. So my guest today is Erin Martin. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
Pretty good. How's it going?
It's going great. We've got some rain in Southern California, so it's actually a nice fall day.
Oh, that's nice. We had some wicked storms come through here. Power flickered on and off.
Oh, wow.
They estimated the winds at like 70 miles an hour up in this area.
That's pretty strong.
Oh, so those are pretty strong winds. It has to do with the fact that like we're in a bay and it just comes in off the water and just does its thing. So we were pretty fortunate that it didn't lose it or lose any trees or my my umbrella stayed put. So
that's impressive. That's impressive. We had a bad windstorm like that at the beginning of the year, about 80-mile-an-hour winds, and it was like a dry tornado came through. We had downed trees everywhere, and that was probably the worst I think I've ever seen it up in this area. But so this nice little bit of rain that we're supposed to have the next few days is a nice relief. We need it.
Okay, cool. So, Erin.
Yes.
You are a creative groomer.
I sure am. Mm-hmm.
All right. So what fueled that decision? Why did you decide to take dye or whatever and put it on a dog? What was that decision there?
I saw a creative grooming competition in Pasadena, and it was the year that Sandra Hartness did her husky, her white husky, and she did, I believe it was the dragon. It was either the dragon on him or it was I can't remember what they call it, where they have the gears and the glasses and stuff. And now I can't think of the name of that style with the hat and the glasses. And it's very like watch parts, steampunk.
Okay.
So it was very, it was a steampunk design. And when I saw that and saw the rest of the competition, the rest of the competitors, I thought, oh my God, that's amazing what they can do. I can't believe that they can draw and paint and do art on these dogs' fur. And especially the husky, seeing something like that, I was like, that is incredible. And, I'm an artist. I've drawn since I was, in elementary school, junior high. I do a lot of crafts. I've done painting before. And I thought, what an awesome way to be able to combine both, the love of grooming dogs and being able to do art and create something from scratch and to do it together. And I started doing creative grooming in 2009 with some extremely, extremely temporary creative colors that basically washed off when I followed the directions and rinsed it in the tub, and it completely washed off. And I had to apply it afterwards and then dry it and brush it out. And it was more like a chalky feeling, and it had 3 colors. And I didn't know about having other options to use, doing other dyes like Manic Panic and things like that the creative groomers were using. And it started from there. And as I went to the shows and saw more creative groomers doing things and learned more and saw different booths and talked to different creative groomers, I learned more about what was available. I learned about pet paints, and I started using pet paints, which is like a temporary pet safe spray that you can put on with stencils or just put on like their ears or their tails. I started using pastels because at the time there weren't chalks yet. And so I would take pastels and color the tails and color the ears. And then a couple of years after that, I got into, I saw a booth that sold permanent dye, the semi-permanent and permanent dye. And I was like, wow, that's really amazing. That's really cool that they have this and they can do this. And I don't remember what booth it was, if it was a Spree or not. I remember a Spree had stencils that I had bought there, and they had blow pens. And I picked up blow pens and I used blow pens for a while and got the permanent dye and started doing a little bit here and there of permanent dye. And that's when, I realized I really like this, and I like doing this to my clients' dogs. They really loved the look of it. And I still wanted to compete, but I didn't have a dog. So I worked on the dogs in my salon, and I started practicing shaving out different designs. So I would take a stencil, put it on the dog, pull the hair through, trim it, and then I would be able to trace that with my shears. So I did that until I felt confident enough to freehand it. And I did some freehand that were not great, and some that were challenging and were not perfect, but still looked great. And I started to do more things in my salon. I still did not have a poodle to work on, and it was something I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to get a quality poodle to compete, and I knew they were going to be expensive. I had kind of done a little bit of research. And then one year I put a post on, it was 2019, put a post up and asked people about who has poodles, who sells poodles in California, because I'm looking to get a poodle maybe in the next year for competition. And it just so happened there was somebody an hour away from me, Noriko Poodles, that had a poodle available that had fallen through. And she was about 9 weeks old, something like that. And she was looking for a home. She had 2 of them. She was deciding which one to keep. And I said, okay, it's now or never. And I took the leap and said, this is an opportunity that fell in my lap. I wasn't expecting it. I need to take it now, because it's now or never. I knew if I didn't go ahead and get that poodle, that I probably was going to keep making excuses, putting it off. And I was already grooming for, at this point, about 14 or 15 years, and, well into my career. And I said, I can't keep making excuses. I need to do this. So I purchased her, did her first competition as a regular poodle class. And then after that decided I want to start using her for creative grooming. I love the poodle competition, but that's why I got her, was for creative grooming. So I entered my first creative groom with her in Super Zoo of 2021. So last year, and we entered with a Harry Potter design, and it was my first extreme all over body creative groom. And we placed 3rd place in entry. And
wow.
Yeah, I did not expect that. And I went big or went home. Like, I chose a very kind of complicated design, a lot of colors in it for being a newbie for the first time. I really went in there, and I got a great critique that I went home and used for an online competition with her. And on the online competition, I placed first. And, the critique that I got was really amazing and helpful. And, I applied that to the following year when I did her second design, entered Pasadena. We didn't place in Pasadena, but we got honorable mention, which I thought was still pretty amazing for my second competition in person. And that was my first competition where I had to groom her on stage. So that was not a pre-groom competition. And again, got a great critique on what to do. Went to the Teton Grooming Expo, and I was not prepared. I did not do what I needed to do with her. I did not plan it out. I didn't practice, didn't time myself, just went in unprepared for it. And we didn't place in that one. But again, I got a great critique. And when I left that show, I left saying, okay, I was disappointed in myself for not preparing, because I had plenty of time, and not practicing and doing what I needed to do. And I guess you could say being overconfident. And, I went home and I practiced with her. I did a timed out run, and I timed myself to see how long will it take to prep her, groom her, get her done to be satisfactory, where I want her to look like, what I want her to look like. How long will that take? And I timed myself. So when I went to Super Zoo this year, I knew exactly how much time I needed, and it was a pre-groom show. So I knew how much time I needed before we went on stage to get her looking the way I needed her to look. And I was a lot more prepared. I planned out, figured out what I needed to do ahead of time, and we placed first in that competition.
Wow. You know what? I want to make a point here. So going back to your dog's name is Taylor, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Taylor falling into your lap.
Yeah.
All right. That's an opportunity. And you know what? There are so many opportunities like that are around us at all times. It's being able to react to them and take them.
Absolutely. I've learned that in the last few years, especially since COVID, when an opportunity presents itself, take it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it may not be the opportunity you think you want or you were going for, but it may be the opportunity that you need to get other opportunities to fall into your lap, to be placed in your path. And, if an opportunity comes along, take it. I am no longer afraid to take these opportunities or sit there and think, oh, well, what if I do this and then this comes along? And, if the opportunity arises, take it, because it's something that can better you as a groomer, can point you in the direction of where you want your career to go. And I just knew, okay, it's going to cost me a pretty penny, but if I don't do it, I may lose the chance to compete.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you hadn't done that, think of all the things that would not have followed along after that.
Absolutely. Like buying her was one of the best decisions I've ever made, not just for creative grooming. She's a wonderful, wonderful dog. She has got the best little personality, but buying her and competing with her opened up a lot of opportunities for me. Even competing with her as a puppy in the poodle class, when people told me don't do it, don't compete with a puppy, I was like, why not? I have her. Yeah, I'm not expecting to win going in with a puppy. I get that, but it's the experience going on stage, knowing what to expect, training my dog on what to expect, understanding a critique and what I can work on and what I need to do, and getting those, jitters out. Why not? I've got the dog here. So what if I don't win? I don't necessarily enter the competitions to win. Everybody loves to win, and that's great. But I see the competitions as an opportunity to get better, to get feedback, outside perspective, because somebody may see something I can do better that I don't see. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's how you learn. I'm not looking at it as they're telling me what I did wrong. I'm looking at it as, what can I do better? What can I improve on? And by competing with her, a lot of opportunities have opened up for me. A lot of opportunities. It's allowed me to do a lot more things for my business goal, and to plan out a future path that I want with my grooming, with my business, that I would not have had I not gotten Taylor.
When COVID hit and Positive, and I was watching the membership dwindle on Positive Ed, because, people were concerned there, because I got to put food on the table. I got to pay rent. And I took that as an opportunity to switch out my business model.
Yeah.
And when I did that, all of a sudden my business snapped back.
Yeah, it put value. I shouldn't say it put value, because the business model you had before still had value to it, but it changed the value.
Yes.
Changed the value. It changed the perspective. And, it opened up a better opportunity. So one door closed for you and another bigger, better door opened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the business model, I think, is better now. I think how the direction Positive Ed took is even better, because I find that there's so much more value in it now. Like the value has increased in my perspective.
All right. So, so you got first place at Super Zoo, correct? Mm-hmm. So what are some of the other things that creative grooming has done for you?
So a couple of other things creative grooming has done for me is it got me recognition to be sponsored. So I have at Super Zoo, at Teton Expo, I met a shear company called Domino Shears, and they had a booth there, and I was checking out one of their extreme curves, because I'm a sucker for extreme curves, because I use them a lot in creative grooming. And so I love a really good extreme curve. And I talked to them for a while, wasn't sure about getting the shears, because I was like, I really don't need it. I want it, but I don't need it. And they told me, they said, hey, enter the drawing. We're doing a drawing tomorrow for a prize for shears. Enter the drawing, and you may win it. And by talking to them and going back and entering the drawing, and them watching me on stage and watching Taylor, even though I didn't win, when I went to Super Zoo, they were there. They didn't have a booth, but they were there. And they approached me and told me they wanted to talk to me about sponsoring me. They saw me at Teton and they saw me at Super Zoo, and they thought I did a fantastic job, and they wanted me to be an ambassador for their shear company. And I was delighted with that. I felt very honored that, that somebody would not just recognize my work, but see that I am a worthy enough groomer to represent their company, to see that, that maybe not putting it that way, that they saw in me something that they wanted to have me represent their company. So it opened up the door for that. And also I was approached by Schernbau as well to be sponsored and to work in their booths. And that opened up an opportunity to travel with them and go to shows and work shows that I didn't consider going to or hadn't planned on going to this year. I was able to go with Schernbau to Tacoma, to the Northwest Grooming Show. I was able to go to Hershey. I was able to go to, what is the other one I went to with them? I think Ohio.
Pet Quest.
Was it Quest?
Or All American.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that one. I don't think, no, I didn't go to All American because that was right after Teton, Idaho. It may have just been two, not Ohio. I think I went to Ohio for a different competition, not with Schernbau, but it was to Hershey. And I've wanted to go to Hershey for years, since the beginning of my career almost. And I've never planned it out, never made the time. And I got the opportunity to go there with them. And Hershey was amazing. I've never been to a convention like it. Hershey was amazing. Just, amazing. It makes all the other competitions I've gone to, all the other conventions seem very, very small. It is the convention of conventions.
For within the grooming industry. Hershey is the largest grooming industry trade show.
Absolutely. It was amazing to watch. It was really amazing to watch. And I would not have had that opportunity to go without being sponsored. And I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be sponsored without doing the creative grooming and competition with Taylor. So one small little decision has opened a ton of opportunities for me, and it also allowed me to start my plan B, my retirement plan from everyday grooming to be able to start the creative groomer. And
before we get into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And we're back.
Okay. So I started a side business during COVID, and had COVID not happened, this wouldn't have happened yet. It probably would have taken me another 3 or 4 years to get this up and off the ground. But COVID kind of was a blessing in disguise in that sense, in the sense of my business being able to open. It was another opportunity where, because of that happening and things fell into place, I was able to start the Creative Groomer. And I started that as a monthly subscription box for the creative groomers. I saw that there was a need for a creative grooming box, that we don't have anything like that in the industry. We have shear boxes, we have bow boxes, we have grooming toolboxes. I know Angela Kumpe's A Creative Collection does boxes. I don't know that she does them on a monthly basis. I believe they're available to buy colors to do a theme. So like she has a mermaid theme and different things like that, where you can buy a set. But there wasn't a monthly box geared towards the creative groomer that could bring to you every month the supplies and tools that you need to do creative grooming, not only in your salon, but on your own personal dogs or on competition dogs. And it was something where I thought, okay, how nice would it be to be able to bring colors every month to these creative groomers, the supplies that they need, and a little something extra for the groomer every month. So I do a different theme and different colors every month. They always get either 2 dyes, whether they're semi-permanent or permanent, or they get a color shampoo, and they get things such as chalk loose chalk powders, glitter gel, pet paste, paint pens, color paste, airbrush inks. They get tools such as the applicator brushes, bowls, hair clips like alligator clips to hold the hair apart. They get nail wraps or nail polish or nail stickers for the dogs. They get bows, bow ties, top knot bows, ties for the boys, bandanas, collar necklaces. So some of them are ruffled, some of them are real blinged out, some of them are feathers, but different collar necklaces. And then I like to include something for the groomer. So sometimes I'll do pens because we all are writing something down in our salons all the time.
I'm looking for my
I love pens. Like
I got my tentacle. Oh.
Yeah, your tentacle pen. I remember that. And, you know, my business partner and I, we love pens. We collect them when we go to Super Zoo. And I love to find unusual, different pens for the groomers because it's fun. It's cute. Sometimes I've done patches, pins, keychains, decal stickers. So there's always something in there for the groomer, you know, paintbrushes to put your chalk on, stencils. So I try to change it up and I try to do something that they will use and try not to get the colors too close to each other in the months. So that way they're not getting doubled up too close. And sometimes that's going to happen depending on the creative groomer and how often they use these items, you know, and that's going to happen. And you're going to have people that fall off and, you know, that cancel subscription and come on, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. But I wanted to have something that filled that niche because, you know, people are always asking for, how do you do this? Where do you get that? And I wanted to be able to provide that. So having started the creative grooming box and doing that for almost a year prior, I wouldn't say prior to doing it. Well, yes. I started the creative groomer in February of 2020, but didn't kick off the box until September. So it took that long to get everything going and organized, ordered, to be able to kick it off. And prior to that, I did my first webinar on creative grooming. And that was for the CPPGA. And it was an online event that we did. And I started doing a couple more webinars. I did some for you. I did another one for CPPGA. And I decided that that was what I wanted my goal to be for 2022. I wanted to do 8 webinars because I wanted to be able to bring creative grooming tutorials to these groomers across not just the United States, but across the world. And I wanted them to have access to that because it is very hard to find and attend the classes for creative grooming. They are out there. There are classes. Several creative groomers do them. Angela Kumpy and Lori Craig are 2 of my favorite instructors for classes. And that's who I've learned a ton of things from. Melena Kahn also does classes as well. But they're not at every trade show. The creative grooming classes are not at every trade show. And at the time I was only attending 2. I attended Pasadena and Super Zoo. And that left me very little options on creative grooming and learning it. And a lot of it was learned by mistakes over the years. And I wanted to be able to bring tutorials to people so that they could avoid those mistakes and have more opportunities to attend classes and learn how to do creative grooming. So not only attending shows in person, but being able to access these shows at any time from anywhere and making it so a lot of them are simple tutorials, simple webinars to show you how to do something this simple. And some of them are more complicated because you have different levels of creative groomers. So I can't do all webinars for just the beginning creative groomer. So some of them I made them more complex. So that person, that creative groomer that's ready to move to the next level and learn carving and detailing and different airbrush techniques, you know, I wanted to do those as well. And I try to do classes that I've seen in the groups where people are asking about, how do you do this? How do you do that? Does anybody know where I can find information about doing this technique or doing that? And so I've tried to do that this year. And in doing those classes, that has also opened up more opportunities for me where I was able to teach my first in-person classes at Teton Grooming Expo. And I did 2 creative grooming classes up there that got fantastic evaluations. I think the biggest thing in that I would say would be negative, but not really a negative. It kind of made me laugh because I didn't think about it, was she needs to pull her hair up. So when I'm
yeah. How many times? Okay, so Erin has got a channel on Positive Ed. And I want to say, we talked late last year about you wanting to do 8 workshops, and you did. She has 8 workshops up, and we'll start off as I'm recording them. Erin, tie your hair.
Oh, yes.
She's got gorgeous, if you're watching the YouTube on this, she's got gorgeous hair.
Thank you. But it's a lot of it. There's a lot of hair here. And so when I'm doing, my creative grooming, I go like this, and I don't realize all of this is in front of the camera. And I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking that they can't see past that. And so that was, one of the classes they asked me if I could tie my hair up, which I did. And, and I didn't think about that in the other class. It's, I work a lot with my hair down. Sometimes I'll tie it up, but a lot of times, I just work with my hair down. I'm used to it. And I forget what you need this nice little curly bush.
Here's the thing that you could add to your creative grooming boxes. Maybe you can get scrunchies made that say the creative groomer on it.
Oh, that's a good idea, because I have put scrunchies in one of my boxes before. So that's actually a really great idea I can look into. That would be really cute, because I'm not the only one with long hair. Definitely.
And you'd be on brand too.
Yeah, that's a really, really good idea. But I have to remember that. And so I thought it was kind of funny that was the only thing with my evaluations that was like, everything was great, but she needs to pull her hair up.
Okay. So you also, with your 8 workshops that you've done over the course of the year, okay, you're offering an opportunity to buy all 8 of them in one shot, correct?
Absolutely. So when I do my webinars, they are at a very, very affordable price of $49. And, through my channel, you get 3 weeks to rewatch them as many times as you need to. And what I'm doing now is I'm bundling up all 8, and I am offering them for a Black Friday deal of $197 for all 8 of them. That's fantastic. You're getting more than half of them for free. So it is a really, really awesome deal to be able to see. If you missed some before, if you're just hearing about my webinars, it's going to be a fantastic deal that you don't want to miss.
And also you're giving much more opportunity to watch. I think what's the end of January?
Yeah. Yep. The end of January. You'll have from when the Black Friday sale starts, you'll have till the end of January to be able to watch those. So you're going to get over 2 months to watch them.
Mm-hmm. So that's, like I said, I'm really proud of you, because I know that you said, what, I want to do 8, and sure enough, you got 8 done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big person on goal setting, and I really enjoy doing that and challenging myself and my abilities and seeing what I'm capable of. And I'm also a huge person on sharing my knowledge, helping people. I believe that this is how you get better in the industry, when you can share this stuff. I obviously am not sharing everything for free, and I understand, when instructors don't do that, but I'm always around on my groups for questions, and I answer questions, but I want to be able
to address that for a second. Okay. Mm-hmm. How many groomers groom for free?
No groomers technically groom for free.
Okay.
Some do here and there, but they definitely don't groom for free.
You get paid for your service. You get paid for your time. You get paid for your knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So there should be payment when you learn something. I mean, the colleges, I can't go to college for free.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, and I try to, when I look at it and I'm doing my webinars or my one-on-one, the Zooms or my workshops, I don't feel that I am at yet the level of creative groomers such as Angela and Lori to warrant charging those prices. I have to put in my time. I have to get there. And I know I will. So I try to make the classes and the knowledge that I offer affordable, but yet still make sure that I'm charging my worth or for what I am teaching. And, so I don't make it too cheap, but I don't make it out of reach for people. And, I think the webinars are very reasonably priced.
Oh, I think so.
I probably could do them for more. However, that price works, and it allows me to share that with more groomers that are beginning, and to keep them from feeling so intimidated that they can't afford it or they can't do it. But I'm not giving them away for free. It's a great price, but I'm not undercharging.
Okay. And I think that's something that, especially that we are a women-based industry for the most part, that's sometimes that's something that we have to like get over ourselves, that we're running businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm always there to answer questions for people, but, I stop short of it being, okay, I'm going to give you a whole lesson here, because my time is valuable. My time is valuable. I do a lot of work outside of work. I do a lot of work. I'm very rarely sitting and watching TV or, doing other stuff. My son probably says, if you were to ask him, I live at my table and my computer and my desk. I'm always doing stuff. Very, very rarely do I have the opportunity to just sit and chill and watch a movie and just do leisure things, because I'm building my brand, I'm building my business. And that time that I spend on my free time and my days off is valuable time. So when people are asking questions and when people are, asking for advice, there is a limit that we have to stop at. I always answer questions and be helpful. I'm not one of those that believes in saying, Google's your friend. If you do the search bar, you can find it. I want people to know I'm easily approachable and I can help, and I'll answer what I can. And if I need to tag another creative groomer that is more experienced than I am, I have no problem with that, because that's what we should be doing. I don't know at all. There's tons of other creative groomers that have years more experience than I have. And when I need to tag one of them to answer a question, I will do that, because that's how you grow this industry. That's how you lift people up. And, so I will do that. But at the same time, I have that limit. Okay. If you want more of this, if you want more of this knowledge, you do have to, pay for that time, because I could be spending that time doing something else towards my business.
Okay. So where do you see yourself going with this?
So ultimately, my goal for next year, for 2023, is to start a podcast and to start a creative grooming podcast, because that's another thing that we don't have. And I think that would be beneficial to a ton of creative groomers. So that's my goal for next year, where I see myself going eventually, and I don't know how long, but is doing a membership similar to what you have, with creative grooming classes and options. So building on the webinars that I do and creating a membership type model that will be available for the creative groomers, and eventually growing my website bigger to include more products and more items. So I've gotten some dyes added onto there, but it is quite the process unless you hire someone to do it. And you have to be ready with your inventory to do that. And so I'm at baby steps. I can only hold so much inventory right now without having a warehouse, because it's all in my house, basically. So, and I'm in a small condo, so I only have so much space. So I add what I can. So I'm working on that. And that's my goals. My goals are to build this business up, build this brand up, so I can pull back from the grooming table, and get to the point where I'm just doing creative grooming in the salon. And that's what my goal is, to be able to pull back from my table from the regular everyday grooming and just do creative grooming, and, a few of my VIP clients. But I want to be able to do more creative grooming and get known in my community as that creative groomer.
All right. And one last thing. Okay. Every April, Erin and I with Positive Ed put on the Creative Grooming Summit.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have the dates. Do you have the dates off the top of your head?
Yes, I do. They are the 16th and 17th of April. So Sunday and Monday.
All right. And which will be 2 days of online creative groomers. And we're in the process of getting that set up. So pay attention for that. Erin, I thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I enjoy it. And, I just want to encourage those creative groomers to don't be afraid to take the leap. There's sources out there. Don't be afraid to ask questions in the group and take the leap.
Awesome. All right. So everybody join us next week when I interview another woman making a difference in the pet industry.